Hey guys, Sean at the Physio Movement here. So I've got a good friend of mine here with me today, Coco. He's going to have a chat to us about PTSD. We've got PTSD Awareness Day coming up on the 27th of June. So Coco knows a fair bit about that. He's going to have a chat to us about that, and then we're going to sort of talk about his experiences with PTSD and hopefully open up some chat around the stigma of PTSD and mental health in general, and create a conversation around that. So.
Yeah, Sean, we do 27th of June, which is International PTSD Day, and post-traumatic stress is probably something that we don't, as a society, talk about a lot. We sort of put it in the same bundle as bullying and domestic violence. So it's important that we get out and we talk about this stuff as a society to make sure that people understand that it's okay to have these post-traumatic stress and mental illnesses. But it's not okay not to get in there and have a talk about it and let them know that there are avenues to help us out.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you originally get diagnosed with PTSD?
Yeah, Sean, I was diagnosed in 2007 following a deployment to Iraq in 2006. Where a lot of stuff happened in that trip. Yeah, and it was a bit of a shock at the time because being a medic in the army, I should know about that stuff, but I didn't know anything about it.
Okay. You suffered some injuries. 2011?
I did. I was in Afghanistan after recuperating from post-traumatic stress, which took about 3 years. And in 2011, I deployed to Afghanistan and was blown up by an improvised explosive device.
So that would have onset a fair
bit
more your PTSD symptoms and.
Yeah, it sort of it exacerbated what I had buried and what I'd been working really hard to keep under control. And from there, I was back into getting treatment with psychologists and psychiatrists, which, you know, in itself is a really stressful thing to happen, and then you throw that on top of that stress of having all these injuries, but then all the memories coming back.
So that would have been a pretty tough road to get back to being.
It was
pretty good health.
Yeah. It's taken me a long time to get back to that point where I feel really comfortable and I feel content with my life.
In those early stages, did you find it hard to talk about PTSD?
I certainly did, mate, and it comes down to that emotional contact. So everything that happened is emotion, and you know that's connected to it. And when you don't like talking about those things because it makes you angry and it makes you sad, and we are trained to use anger as an emotion, and it just got to that point where it was a lot easier not to talk about it, so you didn't get angry, especially with a young family. So, you know, it took me a long time to realise that we have a plethora of emotions that we can go to, and if I talk about it, take the emotional content out, then it becomes a story, and it becomes a story that I can tell quite easily.
Because you've got quite a few good mates that also have had similar experiences.
Yeah, we do. And it's, you know, it's one of them things too where you find it hard to talk to people who don't have an understanding of it. And that's the thing that we think that if Sean doesn't understand my PTSD, I'm not going to talk to him about what happened over in Iraq or Afghanistan. But you know, sometimes you need that person there that's just willing to listen and just an ear for you, just to unload some stuff that's hurting you. And I think if we understand that a bit better, then anyone can be that ear for you. Anyone can be that person that you open up to and tell them things that, you know, in confidence obviously, but things that are hurting you, they may have something new that you haven't tried yet.
So you would maintain now some pretty solid social and professional networks. So how does your professional network sort of keep you on track with maintaining, managing PTSD?
I certainly do, mate. Professionally, I see a lot of allied health professionals like yourself. So it's phys, but I also see physios, osteopaths, psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors. And then my professional network of people that I work with closely with my speaking gives me an opportunity to tell my story, which also helps in a way, you know, it keeps it simmering below the surface, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah. So you got your own motivational speaking business now, talking about your experiences. You bring up your PTSD experience a lot with that. I
do, mate, and I think it's important that I talk about that stuff so people can see someone who's come through the other side talk about it. And I also throw in there my suicidal thoughts, really big suicidal thoughts that came through when I was suffering from PTSD and then after getting blown up. And that's another important thing that we have to associate with mental health. And if we don't get that treatment early, then there's a very real outcome that suicide is.
Yeah. Have you found out that opening up and talking in bigger settings with people that maybe experience the same thing but not yet talking about it? Do you have people come up to you, talk about it and open up? And
yeah, definitely, mate. I just come back from a couple of weeks being away in Sydney and Albury-Wodonga, and you know, talking to kids down there, and they're very young and they're going through their own mental problems with injuries and associated mental issues with that. And it's hard for them to see a path because they've never been shown this stuff before. I mean, I wasn't shown this when I went through, and everything that we're doing is lessons learnt that we've pulled out of the ashes. So having opportunity for them to see me speak about my issues openly, it gave them some confidence, and afterwards we had a number of them come over and just say, look, you know, I've been suffering with this and suffering with this, and it was really good to hear you talk about it. It's now feel like I can go and talk about it. So that's a win for us, you know, that's a massive step forward.
So we were talking earlier about organisations that are out there that deal with mental health, PTSD included. So industries where there's high rates of mental health issues. So we talked about there's a mining, mates in mining, mates in construction,
Beyond
Blue, Men's Shed. So there's groups out there that you can talk. You've been affiliated with a couple of military-based ones.
So we've
Swiss 8.
It is Swiss 8, and it's a very good mate of mine. He's the CEO and he's the founder. And it's what happened was we had to talk about what was helping us get through, and we came up with 8 different principles, and he put them into this app because everybody's got a phone now. And the 4 main ones that we look at is nutrition, sleep, training, and meditation. And if we can get on top of those 4 things, we may be able to empty the cup a bit so you can take professional help in. Because at the end of the day, when we're full of all this drama in our head, that we don't hear anything else, so everything else is drowned out. But when you can empty that cup a little bit, you've got a room in there to take in that professional help that you need. And if we can, the whole aim is to keep people on understanding what good mental health is, so that when you do have a bad day, you understand it and you recognise it early, and then we can utilise, you know, PT or just get back into a sleep pattern or meditation to keep us down and into a good mental health space.
Yeah. We're talking about that process of getting back into that good mental health space. It's a step-by-step process. You would just say that the first thing is just to seek, where would you seek original help from?
Yeah, it was tough, you know, like my wife was the first one that notified me that I was having some problems, and as a sufferer you don't see it coming. Like, you don't see that you're going through these issues. You tend to recognise other people going through it, but you don't see that you're actually doing it as well. So my wife was the first one that sat me down and we had a big chat about it, and then I went straight into my doctor, and from there it was just a suite of referrals going out to psychology, psychiatry, and then into physio, ex-phys, because we've got to maintain good body health to have good brain health. You know, and we've got to look after our whole body, and it becomes a 3-tiered level where you look after your mental, your physical, and your emotional side, and that's what, you know, going to all those specialists does.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming in and having a chat to me.
No, thanks a lot, mate. I'm very proud to be here, and thank you very much for recognising that I've got something to tell, and I can help somebody out there. So if you're struggling, please just talk to a mate or talk to your partner, or go and get some professional help.
Great advice. Thanks, guys.